Hi, and welcome to the Creatives Life Lessons, lesson number 4. So today I am still at Loyal Coffee, and I'll probably be here for a while. So I hope that you don't mind this crazy, weird background here. I just get easily distracted if I see things moving, like this person's head right here. That person's head there. So anyway, I want to continue by giving you guys life lesson number 4, which is probably the I guess most heavy wouldn't necessarily be the word that I'm looking for, but it definitely is the life lesson that has the most weight to it because of the nature of the topic. And the creative's life lesson number 4 is know the way. Of course, I know that you're probably asking how can I know the way? Um this is kind of like that quintessential life question of oh, what should I be doing, or in which direction should I go, or what direction should I take, and I need a sign, that kind of stuff. And I guess that's why this is a heavy topic, because there's no there's no universal or general answer for this. But there is a way that you can be confident in knowing the way in which you should go. Um, and I think that has a lot to do with your calling. It honestly has everything to do with your calling. So if you know your calling, then you will obviously know the way to go, because it will kind of be like one of those no-brainer things where it's natural, and you might not know exactly which step to take next, but you will kind of know a general direction in which you should go. And that just comes with knowing and having confidence, right? Um, so I'm going to read a quote by Albert Schweitzer, and it is, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know. The only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." So I'm pretty sure the definition of calling in a dictionary is probably quite different from this, but I'm just going to define what I believe a true calling is. A true calling, in my humble opinion and definition, is knowing how to serve those around you with your gifts and your talents and what you were created to do. So we're all created, and we're all born, and somebody has a hand in creating us, right? Two people get together, and then, or I mean, even like not a person, because obviously technology nowadays can create a way for people to have children that aren't able to have children in a natural setting, right? So you're created. People have a hand in that. Um, so you're unique. No two people on the earth are alike. Not even twins are alike, which is crazy to me, right? Um, that's cool. I mean, you just sit there and think about it. That's pretty cool. So you're unique, and that means that you have a creative calling because you were created. You can create, and because you're unique, then you have a purpose to serve. There's no way that you can be walking around for no apparent reason or no purpose. I refuse to believe that anybody is here just because it's hey, let me live this life and then that's it. There's got to be a reason that, like, you're here. There's got to be a reason that you're in your spot that you're in right now, like, even right now as I speak, like, which was then, but right now as I speak. If you were to watch this again in the future, then right there, wherever you are, there's a purpose, right? So I want to talk about the person of Jesus. And bear with me. Jesus was a real dude. Like, he walked the earth, right? He's in history books. So whether or not people want to argue about his person and what he did and what actually happened is on them. But I want to talk about the life and the purpose that Jesus served or was supposed to serve in his story told in the Bible. So, Jesus' story is one of a man who sought to serve others until his death. He was love, the Son of God, and he told us he was here to be the way. From the moment he was born, that was his purpose, but it wasn't until he gained the cognitive ability to really like tap into that and to start to kind of cultivate his life into that direction, you know? Like, it wasn't until then that he knew like who he was. That can happen at pretty much any age. Somebody can know their calling at the age of 5, but then never step into it or not step into it until much later. It's all your perspective on life. It is because you're the product of your environment and you're the product of the things happening around you and the people that cross your path. So it's very important for you to go through a discovery stage, right? To kind of figure out like what is it that you're supposed to do to know the way. The second point I would like to make about Jesus' life is that he served knowing someone close to him would betray him. So in the Bible story, we know that there was a betrayer, and that was Judas. Now, in our environments, there are people that aren't necessarily going to be for us. Like, they're not going to be like key people that you're going to keep in your narrative. There's going to be a lot of people like that, but there are going to be certain individuals that literally thwart your plans, come in and, destroy things, come in opposition, make things really not happen for you, like on purpose. Like, there's just going to be people like that. So, in your creative life, you have to kind of keep that area open still. I believe that even those people that are like negative or want to destroy you, so to speak, have a purpose, can teach you a lesson. And it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of have to allow for that to maybe happen because it's possible. Only because, we're all broken and we're all struggling. There are certain people walking out there with a ton of pain that they really just don't need to carry, but they like put it on everybody else, and it just happens, right? So just because that's going to happen to you doesn't mean that you should let that throw you off the direction in which you're going, especially if you know what your calling is. Like, if you know what your purpose is, and also with that, it takes time and practice and exercise to like be able to see that thing so that you can not necessarily keep yourself from it, but help protect yourself better from it in the future. So, like, whenever I was little, I had these, friends, and I had them around, and we did a lot of the same stuff. Well, as our relationship grew, I would start to see like certain things. Like, if somebody was like jealous, or if somebody was not necessarily like a partner, like somebody that was trying to take advantage of a situation or get something from me, and it was like super one-sided. So I started to see these things, and I started becoming better at nipping those kinds of things in the bud before they like blossom and bloomed and then like blew up in my face, kind of thing. So just because you see that coming doesn't mean that there isn't a purpose for that in your life, or that you cannot learn from it. Just be aware of it, I guess is what I'm saying. The next point I would like to make about the life of Jesus is that he served knowing that people would put him to death. So his purpose was to come and make a way for us. And he had to do that by taking on sin and then being on a cross and dying for us in order to have salvation, in order to have a way. The point I'm trying to make in this is that if you find your purpose, and in that purpose you know that you're serving a particular group or a particular individual, and then somebody comes along and tries to kill that thing, tries to put it to death, don't let them. Especially if you know that you can serve a greater purpose. Continue to explore and discover the things that are being cultivated inside of you, or the things that you are being led to create, and continue to let that thing grow and continue to let it evolve. Just because somebody says like, "Oh, that's not going to work," don't just like throw it all away. Like, how would you know unless you tried? Like that whole doubt thing that we talked about. Like, if you haven't tried, you won't know. So get to a place where you don't let people or things or events in your life thwart your direction and your plan when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to your creativity. Seek that thing out, continue on, especially if you know that, hey, this could possibly kill it for me, but you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up until I find out that I really don't need to be doing this. Be tenacious about it. Protect that thing and keep it going. The next point I would like to make is that in Jesus' life, he served even though he knew it would cost him greatly. This thing that I'm doing, this like podcast that I'm trying to launch, probably, um, from my perspective, it couldn't have come at a more ridiculous time in my life. And because of that, it looks wrong, right? That's like my perspective, is that I'm like, I don't have time for this. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm trying to focus on like something else. Why would I do this? Why would I create more stuff to keep me up at night and to make me like exhausted? But here we are, and that's the thing. Like, even though Jesus knew it would cost him greatly, like to be rejected, to be put to death, to be ridiculed, to be questioned, to be challenged every corner he took. Like, like who asks for a life like that? It's ridiculous. Even though he knew it was going to cost him, he still did it. He did it because of the purpose he had, because he knew what was at stake. Yes, it would cost him greatly, but it would cost everybody else so much more if he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And that's what I want to point out, that in your creative life, when that thing comes along that you're like, "Oh, this is it. Like, this is how I'm going to serve people, how I'm going to serve other people, how I will serve other creatives, how I will serve this audience, how I will serve this group." Like, when that thing comes along and you're like, "Oh, but I'm going to lose sleep over it. I'm going to be so tired. I'm going to be so stressed out. I could possibly lose my job over it. I could possibly lose my family over it." You know, there are things you can do to hopefully counter that. And for those, especially the last two things, not to happen. Like, you don't want to lose your family and you definitely don't want to lose your job over something. But as far as comfort is concerned, I'm never going to tell you that it's going to be comfortable. It's not. It's going to be work. And it is going to cost you things like sleep. It's going to cost you things like money. You'll have to buy resources or tools or whatever it is that you have to get in order for that thing to happen. It is going to cost you. But the return on that cost, the return on that investment, if your purpose is something bigger than yourself, it's totally worth it. It's worth it to see the things that you can create, the ways for people that you can create, like knowing the way and then creating ways for others. That's big. If that is something that can come out of you losing a few hours of sleep every night, then it's totally worth it, right? Like, ask yourself that question. Is it going to be worth it in order for people to discover something, to be inspired by something, to heal from something? Then it's worth losing whatever comfort you think you don't have room or time or capacity to lose. And the last point that we've come to about Jesus and his life is this overall all-encompassing theme, which is he did what he did for the ones who would have a life because of it. So, you knowing the way, you knowing your purpose, you knowing your calling opens up ways, paths, and like things for people to know their way too. You're unique, and you, of course, have your own experiences, and that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there that will not relate to a particular situation or a particular thing that you create and put out there into existence. There is, I would bet you at least $100 that there is somebody out there that needs to know that they're not alone. That even though your specific life event isn't the same, there's still a relation between what they're going through and what you're going through. They can connect the dots. Like, it's up to them to connect the dots, right? Not you. It is, though, your responsibility in order to put that stuff out there in order to help other people. The world needs you and what you bring to the table. Whatever that thing is that serves humanity well, that's the thing that you need to do. That's like what finding your true calling is. Something that serves others in a way that gives them ideas, gives them a different perspective in order to pivot where they are in life. If somebody is stuck, you show them by whatever you're creating that they don't have to stay there. Um, I mean, the list goes on, right? This can go on like exponentially. Like there is no limit to this. The possibilities are endless, right? And that's really what Jesus was trying to do, right? He was trying to show people the way, show show them the way to be compassionate, to be generous, to serve people, to give to people. Like giving people whatever you've got to give. That's all you can really hope to do in your life. That shows them that they're not alone. And it also shows them maybe how different they are from you and how they can also create something like what you're creating, but unique to their narrative. And that shows them that it is possible to get through some of the things that we need to get through to find solutions for our lives. If I had to sum everything up, it would be you knowing your purpose and the way in which you should go allows people to branch off from that thing, and that allows other people to branch off of their thing, and it just becomes this like crazy snowflake, right? Where from the center out goes and then everything also connects. Like it's like you're going out but you're also connected. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about it that way, but that's what I'm trying to say. You need to seek that thing out, and you need to make sure that you don't let anybody take it away from you. And you need to make sure that you do that thing in order for all of us to connect the dots and to live a life that is fulfilled. So, that's life lesson number 4 for a creative, which is knowing the way. And I hope that that blesses you. I hope it encourages you. And I hope that you find that thing that like will light you up inside, that that will help other people, that will get other people excited about stuff, because that's what makes life beautiful, is when people are confident and they know like what life is all about. Cool. All right. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you continue to have a good day. And we'll see you tomorrow for the last of the Creative's Life lessons. All right. Take care.